Y'all, my heart drops. Hey guys, as y'all can see, oh, child, I just washed my hair. My back was killing me, so I was like, let me just come upstairs. And I was talking to a friend of mine about how I lost my passport in Portugal. Yeah. So I was like, let me come up here and just condition my hair. I use cholesterol. I've been using it since high school, like on and off. But yeah, so I was like, let me come up here and tell the people this story time about when I lost my passport in another country. So me and Babe had decided we waited a year because when we got married, our son was like 6 months. So he was 6 months. So we didn't really want to do like a far away honeymoon. So we like stayed local, went to like the best spa, blah, blah, blah. So we had planned our honeymoon to go to Portugal, and from Portugal to go to Marrakesh, Morocco. So I'm going to try to make this informative yet not long-winded. So so we get to Portugal and we land in Porto. So we land in Porto, Portugal, amazing, love the country, would definitely go back. So as we're catching the train from Porto, Portugal to Lisbon, Portugal, I'm watching a movie, I'm on the train, going down the countryside or whatever. I was like, oh, I want to go to the club car. So I go to the club car, get in some snacks, come back. I would say probably about 20 minutes later, Babe goes, oh, I think this is our stop. So she starts like getting our things together, like grabbing our bags. I'm like, are you sure? Now, if you know me, you know that sometimes it takes a while for me to for something to click, right? So I'm like, no, babe, like I don't want to rush. I'm not sure. We got to look at the signs, blah, blah, blah. We get off the train, get our bags, and get off the train. So we're on the train on the way to our hotel in Lisbon. We get to the gate, beautiful hotel right next to a soccer stadium, huge soccer stadium. So we get into the hotel lobby. Well, we're getting our stuff out of the cab at the hotel, and I'm like, yeah, my heart drops. I realized that, and I'm going to try to insert a picture, I realized that I don't have this satchel here. And that satchel had my AirPods in it, like all little things. My AirPods. I didn't have money. I didn't have my wallet in there, but I definitely had like my AirPods, my passport. Because if you're traveling abroad, like you pretty much want your passport close to you at all times. So I had my AirPods, my passport. I think I did have like one credit card. My ID wasn't in there. And yeah. So I realized I don't have it. So I tell Babe, I tell the guy, I'm like, oh shoot, like I don't have my passport. I must have left it on the train. When I say, like, first of all, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I left it, to what the hell am I gonna do? So I don't panic right away. We go back, we're calling the train station. We're pretty hopeful at this point. Like, we go back to the train. We see where the train that we were on, where it stopped. I think it was like 4 stops away. It was the last stop. So we catch the train. We catch a taxi to the last stop. They don't have it. They're pretty much saying that at this point it's probably gone. And I was just hopeful that, okay, maybe it's a lost and found, maybe they'll find it. Baby, not a passport. So, thank goodness, and I would say first tip to just making sure this doesn't happen, or let's do it when it does happen. First tip is to always bring a laptop with you on international travel. Tip number 1. So, babe had her laptop, so we go back to the hotel. At this time, like, I was still early on in my sobriety, so I wasn't drinking. The waterworks just started rolling. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How do I even, what are the next steps? Tip number 2. Immediately call, your country's embassy. So we immediately went on the website to the American Embassy. By this point, I had told my mom, because she was back home watching our kids, and my stepdad, and he was like, we had looked it up, what to do if you lose your passport, but he also confirmed, because he used to work in the government, to just contact the embassy or whatever. So we contact the embassy. I want to say it was a weekend, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. All I know is that we contacted them. We did everything that we needed to do online. Online, it said that pretty much you can't get another appointment until, it was 10 days or 2 weeks or something crazy like that. So then I'm really panicking. So babe was like, let's just go get something to eat. There's nothing we could do right now. I did have a picture of my passport. And I did still have my ID. So if we wanted to go somewhere that was a club or something, we could. So next day we decide babe decides, and shout out to my beautiful wife, because we're like the yin to each other's yang. She helps me in crazy moments and I help her in crazy moments. And it works. It's amazing. Oh, by this time, we did get information that we needed to go and file a police report. So we're like, okay, we're making progress. I can get home to my children, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and to rewind, we were supposed to be in Lisbon for, I want to say 3 days. And then we were catching a flight to Morocco, to Marrakesh, to stay there for the last couple of days of our trip. Needless to say, Morocco ain't happened. So we had to deal with those airlines, that hotel, that service that was picking us up to the airport, all of our tour things, we were going to ride camels and just everything that you could think of for the Morocco trip needed to be canceled. So we go to the police station. Y'all, when we're in the police station, I lie to you not, it's nothing but Americans. It's Americans, and then there was a group of Asian women. So we go and they had all lost either a passport or wallet or got their money stolen or something. So we go into the thing. We pretty much tell him it's gone at this point. It's a lost cause. We're just taking this precaution because we need the police report paper when we go to the embassy. So he's like, okay, tell me what happened beginning to end. So as I'm telling him the story, I'm listening to other people's stories. Oh my goodness. And by this point, I have found out that, and I hope you don't mind me telling you this, I have found out that my stepbrother had lost his passport before in another country. I think I want to say it was the Philippines or something. And obviously he made it back home. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it back home. I just don't know how long it's going to be until I can make it back home. At this point, babe's like, well, I can go back and relieve your parents from the kids. And I'm like, no, don't leave me here. Please don't leave me here. Then I'm just bawling again. I was just a ball of emotions, and legit, my brain kept going to all those movies where people are stuck in other countries. So get the police report. People in there had lost their passports when they went to it was this huge concert or festival there when we were there. with a lot of American artists, but people had lost their stuff there. This one father and son, they were actually had went to the concert, and their passports got like taken out of their rental car. Yeah. So fast forward, Babe is deciding if she's gonna stay. She's not gonna leave me. Thank God, she ain't leave me. She's not gonna leave me. She is approved from work. Like she, not even extends, because we still made it back home the time we were supposed to make it home. But yeah, so finally we're calling. We're booking appointments. Every time that appointment gets booked, we call back to see if we can get an earlier appointment. Like it was like a game of chess. Finally, I get the appointment at the American Embassy. Babe cannot go in with me. I cannot bring my cell phone. I just have to go to the gate, tell them I'm a U.S. citizen, and they buzz me in. So yes, I was a little rattled. So I'm walking, it was literally like out of a movie, y'all. So I walked through these gates of this Spanish-inspired, like I felt like I was in like, I don't know, like a Spanish country. Like the tiling on the buildings, it's a huge compound in the middle of like trees. I mean, we were in the city, but it was still like, they had some land and it was a huge compound. So I go through, and he's like, you know, you gotta leave your phone here, whatever. So I'm walking. He was like, just walk the path until you get to blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So I'm walking through all these like gardens. I'm walking like, and I see, I believe Trump was in office at the time. So it's, you know, they have like the president's up on the wall and all these American flags. And I'm just walking by myself, just walking. So I finally get to the building and I see like the lobby or whatever. And they say, okay, sign in. They're going to call your name. So then they called my name. And then I went in this other little smaller room, but it was still people in there. And I was in there for probably like, I don't know, 30 minutes. Babe is outside just waiting for me. Because one, I can't call her. And two, why would she like leave and come back if I can't, you know what I'm saying? So she just started she said she just walked around, but in that same area. So they finally call my name up and and the guy's like, okay, are you such and such? I'm like, yes. What happened? Okay, this happened. So he's doing the process. I'm like, thank God. Like, thank you, gosh. Mind you, it's cheaper to get a passport if you lose it overseas as opposed to when you're buying it here. But I mean, who would want to go through that? Just save a couple bucks. So he's like, have you ever lost your passport before? And I was like, no, like I've never lost my passport before. And he goes, are you sure you've never lost your passport before? Like maybe around 2008. And I was like, I have lost my passport before. When I was moving, and I remember it was right before my sister's wedding because I had to like expedite it. But when I was moving, like from my first, not even my first, I think from my first apartment, yes, when I was moving, I couldn't find my passport. So I just went and got another one. So I was like, oh yeah, I did. So he said, well, ma'am, since this is your second offense, since this is your second offense, we're going to give you a temporary passport to go home. Once you get to the United States, you cannot leave for 6 months. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So, yes. To make a long story short and to do a recap, always bring a computer with you. Your cell phone cannot pick up certain things that a laptop can. Always reach out to your American embassy if you ever get your passport lost because that's who you're going to have to go to because that's how you're going to possibly get home. Number 3, always tell the truth when you're going through this process. It ain't the time nor the place to try some shady stuff, okay? And yeah, like, just be mindful of your belongings. Never get too razzled to where you can't grab something in the heat of the moment, whether it be my satchel or just anything. Just cool, calm, and collected when you're international traveling. Yeah, so, yeah, I lost my passport in another country. and I had to go to the American Embassy to get entry back into the United States, but I made it back home. That's my passport story. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm about to wash this cholesterol out of my hair, and then, yeah, figure out what I want to do to it. See you guys in the next one.